Hello, everyone. Welcome to Spill the Tea with OYD. My name is Dora Diaz, and I am the president of the Osceola Young Democrats. I am here with my co-host, Lee.
I am Lee Wright. I am the secretary of Osceola Young Democrats.
And today
we are joined today. Oh, I'm sorry, I'll let you do it, Dora. We always mess this up.
It's all good. And today we are here with Victor Cruz. He is running for school districts in Osceola County. Hello, Victor.
Hi, Osceola, and everybody around who's watching. It's a pleasure.
So we always like to start the show with a little bit of tea. I myself, this is cold iced hibiscus tea. So it's cold and it has a little bit of lemon and sugar. It's kind of hot today, so I just wanted to drink something refreshing. How about yourself?
Well, I like to drink green tea. I got it on my natural from Puerto Rico cup. I like to drink it. Usually I drink coffee, café yaucano, but like you mentioned, it's really hot. And sometimes to refresh, I just drink iced tea.
Oh, yum. So
and that's what I'm drinking. I'm drinking the iced tea, but I want to go back to Dora because Dora, you didn't mention how you grew that tea, right?
Yes, I did. So there's a local business around here where I live. Her name, I'm just gonna shout it out, Oakwood Natural. And so she makes tea and she introduced me to hibiscus tea. So I brewed the tea with her and I loved it so much, I ended up buying the plant. So I'm gonna start brewing, harvesting from the plant. I've been starting gardening a lot. So this is my little story about hibiscus tea.
Nice.
Yeah, so I have two little plants, and when they have flowers, I can take those flowers and make the tea. So I'm really excited, looking forward to that.
That's something that we need to go back to. Teach the youth to brew and do a lot of things and cultivate something that we as a society we're losing because of the convenience of going just to the store. And now we have stores everywhere. We just go and purchase it instead of actually brewing. That is way better.
I know there's some schools in this area. I believe they have some agricultural programs where they have their little community gardenings. I know the school that I used to work at in Osceola County, we had a little garden. It was just starting.
That was by Horizon School. I know Horizon Middle School have a.
No, I used to work in Osceola County in 192. So that's where you.
Oh, 192.
Okay. Yeah. So what position are you running for, and why should Young Democrats care about that position?
Okay. Well, my name is Victor Cruz. I'm Professor Cruz from Valencia College. The position that I'm running for is the Osceola County School Board District number 3. Cannot be longer. And the reason for it is really important is because as a professor, I realized that education is really, really important. And it's important for our youth because they're our future. And we depend on them. That we depend on them learning from our things that we did right and from our mistakes. Then they cannot make the same mistakes and they prove that the way of living. Also, one of the things that fascinated me and pushed me to run is because currently I'm the supervisor for Circuit 9, Osceola and Orange, for the diversion program. That's a program that helps first-time offenders, children especially who get in trouble in school, to help them to obtain their GED or high school, and also to separate the charges. And the reason is really important because, as we know, it's a lot of juveniles that commit a mistake in their life that it could be corrected. And I help them. I work with thousands of children every year that we could help them to take that aside, have remorse, and know what is the true meaning of life and learn based on education. Something that Osceola County is lacking and is pushing them away by expelling them. They expel them from the school when you cannot punish a kid by taking education away from them. Because once you take education away from them, you're setting up for them to fail. And the reason that I wanted to run is based on my experience working with thousands of kids every year, is to make sure that that child do not lose education, to make sure that that child, no matter the mistake that they commit, they have the opportunity to continue education and have the remorse. That's one of the major reasons why I'm running for school board District 3.
So Professor Cruz, does that involve restorative justice?
Yes, every board in that, what happened is that we have to make sure that the child gets involved back with the community, serve the community, and understand that what they did, it is something wrong, and in some way, like for instance, if they vandalize something, for them to learn that it was a mistake, they don't supposed to do it. We could provide them with substance abuse, mental health, any type of services that the families or the juvenile need. Because a lot of times when children do those acts, it could be something, another reason behind it. It could be the lack of supervision or the lack of sports or education, just because we fail as a society to provide them, especially in Point Siena. I don't know if you guys are familiar with my area. There's really nothing to do out here. And the only thing that they know outside of the four walls is the school. And it's really important for them to be in school and acquire all that knowledge, and also the sports and everything that they could be able to acquire during that time. And if they fail in something, we cannot turn our backs to them. We have to actually help them for them to be able to flourish.
So aside from that, what are some of your other priorities in education?
My other priorities is that no matter what background, gender, sex orientation, nationality, they get the same education, that we don't let them behind, that we appreciate them coming, and we need to provide them with safety, security, and services. That's something that we have to do. And not just them, also the parents, the community, the teachers, the staff. If we start valuing them, because we have to value the students as well. Because if we don't have students, then we don't need no teachers. We don't need no staff. We don't need no administration. We have to make them understand that it's just a circle of us as a society working together, us providing with them with knowledge, and them acknowledging our education for them to be able to flourish and help us in the future.
So the district just recently came out with their plans on going back to school, and they made it really clear that with the things that are happening with COVID-19, nobody really knows from day to day. It's just they had to approve it. So with that said, with the current rate of infection in the state of Florida, do you think that Osceola should open up if things stay the course?
Believe it or not, the way that we're going right now, we have to go follow based on the CDD or the Florida Health Department recommendations, but based on the statistics, we know that it's just getting worse instead of getting better. I believe that would not be safe to have children going back at this time. We have to, at least we still have a month and a half to go to see how the statistics and the rates are going. But if it escalates to a position that we're risking their life and we're risking the life of the staff and also the family members at home, I do not believe that they should go back. But the thing is that we must remember that going to school is not just a knowledge thing that happens to them. That also needs to learn to socialize and have that experience. What we could do is we could look at other options to be able to provide, and talking to the communities, that they will have their social activities at their communities during the week as well, following the safety standards, and they could be able to experience that part, also experience the part of the education online. And also, I believe that they do in a meal, because we have also families that the children depend on going to the school to be able to get feed. And I believe that we could talk to the state to provide them with an ABT card that the families could use an additional funding to be able to purchase food for that child at home. I like the second choice, the second choice that, I don't know if you're familiar with, they gave us three choices. one, go back to the classroom, follow the rules, wear a mask. But I think that's really complicated, especially for younger children, to follow all those guidance. The second one, the one that I like, is that the child actually sit down in front of their computer or their phone and listen to the teacher live, attend the class live from. And then the third option is going online, and just like a virtual school. The problem with the third option is that the child learns on his own. And my district, especially my district area, we have a lot of minorities or a lot of people who maybe the last time they went to school was 20 years ago and they don't remember the information. This means that child is going to be left behind when it comes to the education, and it will not be able to get the reinforcement from the parents. And that worries me, because based on the statistics, when you have a lot of children who are doing virtual school, some do well, but not everybody. And we don't know how long this is going to last. It's going to last months, weeks, months, years. What's going to happen to the child who finds behind? And then suddenly 9, 10, 11th grade, they did it virtually. And then on 12th, they go back to school. What's going to happen to that child? Are we going to leave him behind? Are we going to hold him back? Or are we just going to pass him and he's not going to be ready? Because as a college professor right now, with the previous years that everything was normal, the kids were not ready for college. I helped them and I tried to do my best, but they're not ready. By the Osceola County standards, in reality, they're not ready when they go to college.
And I see access to computers and high-speed internet, they differ depending on the various socioeconomic classes. So when it comes to virtual education, you know, that is really affected. I'm a virtual education teacher, and I've seen that my students who are not succeeding is because they may have those issues with either getting a phone call and on time or the internet. So what can be done at the local level to provide equity in virtual education?
Like you mentioning, virtual education works, but when you have the basics and you have the roots of the child is motivated to learn. But when you have a child who needs that motivation, they don't get it at home, it's going to be really hard. Remember, the virtual school works because those are children who actually want to be part of the virtual school, versus now they're mandated. That's a big difference between voluntary and being mandated. What we could do? Well, we have different tutoring companies. They accept government funding that they could be able to reinforce the children. Also, we have another providers. We could talk to Valencia to see if they, because right now Valencia actually borrow teachers that they work in the high schools to be able to provide education for the children to prepare them to be at the same standard of the college. We could contact them to see if they could provide the same services for us to tutor the children, or have online sections just for tutoring that they could reinforce. Because remember, practice is what makes it perfect. It's not just a lesson. And right now, we cannot say, unfortunately, Osceola County is number 67 when it comes to budgeting children. I don't know if you guys know, we are the lowest, and that's embarrassing because I don't like to be the last of anything. At least the pre-last, but not the last one. And it's really bad because we need to focus on actually negotiating, go loving with the county, with the state, because we have a great county here. I cannot imagine that we have these big corporations and industries in our county or close to our counties, and our county receive the less funding when it comes to education. It is embarrassing, and we need to work on that. Also, we need to work on that right now, because the kids are not going to school. We're saving a lot of money. And we could use that money to reinforce the education when it comes to virtual. Like I'm talking about like water expenses, light expenses, gas expenses, transportation, all that expensive. There's a lot of money there that we could use and move it towards helping in virtual.
Professor Cruz, kind of switching gears a little bit. We've been asking on this particular platform, we've been asking candidates how they've been campaigning during COVID-19. And one of the things that I've noticed about you is that you are you're out there. Like I've seen in plenty of interviews with you where you're getting your message out there. So for somebody that is used to, getting your message out there and trying to connect with voters, how would you recommend the district better communicate with its stakeholders regarding like opening up schools or for any issue that involves the community?
Well, I believe that they need to do virtually more meetings like town halls with the community locally, promote it. We could use the news, or they have signs when they're going to build roads or work on roads. They could have a sign saying we're going to have a virtual meeting and the parents are welcome to participate. Because based on like the current website for Osceola County School District, a lot of times it's a little bit complicated for parents to go around. A lot of people are not familiar. They know how to use Facebook, or they know how to use some apps, but a lot of times it's hard for them to do different things. What we could do is we could promote, like as if I would have been the school board representative of my area. I don't see why it's not wrong for you to have at least 4 or 5 meetings with your community a year. I've been here in District 3 for over 4 years, and I never met my board member that represent me. I never heard about him, and I spoke with teachers, and they never see him. The only time they see him is just on the picture. And it's not supposed to be like that. We're supposed to walk with the community. We're supposed to talk to the community. And right now we have technology. You could do anything. You could be in the Mount Everest and live feed. What is so hard to just try to communicate with the whole community that we have to? We have the technology. There's no excuse for it.
And I don't know if I'm right or not. Yeah, Latino, right?
Yeah, see.
See. How are you planning on communicating with the community, especially the Latino Hispanic community in your area?
Pues hablando en español.
Sí.
I'll be speaking in Spanish. Yo voy a hablar en español. I'm from Puerto Rico, as you know. My mom is from New York. My dad is from Puerto Rico. Which means I speak both languages, English y español. I was born and raised in Trujillo Alto, Puerto Rico. And I understand the family because I currently, like I mentioned before, I work with them. And a message has to be provided in a different way when habla en español. Mm-hmm. We have a different mindset. We see things in a different way. And also, you have to explain to especially the Puerto Rican community that when they arrive here, they don't even know what's a school board because we don't have school boards back home. We just have a superintendent, and they're the ones who are in charge, and that's it. And you have a principal of school. That's something that they need to learn. Also, as a representative, my job is to represent my constituents, my residents, and my district. It is for me to go and listen to the complaints. And then when we have the meetings, bring the complaints for them, because the majority, they won't even be able to be there. And if they're there, they only have 2 or 3 minutes. And you cannot tell your complaint in 2 or 3 minutes. But as a board member, you have a limited time. That means you could be having meetings every 2 months or every 3 months where your constituents, listening to them, talk to them in English, in Español, or French, Creole. You could use all meanings in different languages. Sprach in Deutsch, I speak German. You could connect with your community, or even use a system that you will be able to connect to other community. Because even if we have a majority Hispanic population in this area, we cannot forget of other minorities that we have in our areas, that we could be able to reach them. Like we have a lot of people from Haiti, Creole, that the parents, they don't speak English. And I know that because I work with the children when I work in the diversion program. And we have to look also for staff that will be able to help us to connect with them.
Do you think criticality is important? Like, do you think it's important to bring that types of criticism to the public as a board member?
Yeah, it's really important. It's really important. And it's really important to always criticize and see all the things that we do wrong and what we do right. Because when we have a normal conversation with everybody in a debate, that we see what is right and what is wrong, then we could be able to, that's the only way we can improve things. That's the only way.
Now, one of our members got together, and one of our priorities is also environmental sustainability. What ideas do you have to make through the school board to make the community more sustainable?
When it comes to the environment, pro environment,
Yes,
well,
environment.
something that I like a chairman, I'm the chairman of the CDD of my community. Something that I came to agreement with the developer was to limit the trash amount and also to limit the cutting of the trees. Something that you're talking about the environment, like the actual environment, right? Okay, helping, like we could come up with a program of a senior before they graduate for them to plant a tree and also work with the community, do community service, pick up trash. That's something that I do with the children and diversion, but not to do it as a mandatory, if not something that as a human being, if you see a piece of trash, anything collectible that don't belong to the ground, just collect it and make that mindset in our community that when everything looks good, people are happy, people act in a different way. I don't know if you're familiar with broken windows that was used back in the 80s. Sometimes it was used in the wrong way, but when I teach criminal justice, that's something that is really important, because the way that your community is, that sometimes it's the way you treat it. Because if you see trash everywhere, you're just like, let me throw just one more, and it'll make a difference. But we need to make a difference in their mind. And no matter where you live, you have to take care of it. No matter what area we live, we have to take care of it. And if we don't take care of our planet, then we're not gonna have nothing left.
So we are both teachers, full transparency, and me specifically, I was highly interested to see how the candidates for school board would react to the House bill that just passed, 641, the first year teacher pay bill. So I'm curious to your opinion. How do you think the school district should handle the funds for that bill?
I believe that, correct me if I'm wrong, that we should look for all means, that's part of my campaign, to make sure that our veteran teachers get paid the difference between the new teacher. For instance, it's not fair for a teacher who's been for 7 years to get paid less than a brand new teacher. I don't believe in that. I believe that we should change our table that we have for correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Osceola County have a complicated one versus other counties that is simple. Based on the years of service, you should get paid this. I believe that we should push for a minimum of $50,000 for a teacher. I know a lot of people say, where are you gonna get that money? We could work it out. We could look to push to receive more money from the state. We could also look at the budgeting. How we do that? When it comes to bidding, when it comes to do works in the schools, we don't need to change the tiles of a school every 2 years. We need to look into when we do the process with the vendors, so we make sure that we're paying for quality, but also we're not spending extra money. And by doing so, we could use that money to help the teachers that we have to be able to sustain them. Because why we having teachers who come here, they do 3 years, they get the certification or they get the kick, and then they leave. No, we don't want that. We want our teachers to stay with us, because what is more beautiful to have a person who works with the county for more than 25 years, a teacher that teaches generations. Oh, that's professor. Oh, you know why? He was the professor of my father. That person has been teaching that for years. But how we could retain them? We need to increase the pay, no matter what. We need to make some sacrifices and other things, make sure that our budget goes towards improving not just the teacher's salary, also the staff and the assistants. That's something we look into. And what we could do is, like I said again, looking at the budget, looking at the expenses, making sure that the bottom teachers, the ones who are going to get paid less, they will not get paid less than the new ones. There will be a table, for instance, of $50,000, $55,000, $60,000 a year. And believe it or not, 60,000, still is not, my belief is not enough for the work that you guys do. And for how expensive it is here in Osceola County. This is really expensive. And that's something that we have to look into to be able to promote, to have the community. Because the community has to understand too, the more money that the county spend, the property taxes will increase. But they have to see, by doing so, we will have a better future. By doing so, they're investing money on our community. They're investing money on our teachers. Because you as a teacher, you have a great salary. What are you going to do? You want to go out and you're going to spend your extra money, right? Push the economy. Also, we have students that are going to be successful and they might want to invest back in our community, the ones who put them in there in the first place. But we cannot forget our teachers. We have to make sure that they get the salary that they're supposed to. Do you agree with that? You happy with that?
I do. I'm worried about I'm not worried. I've just got a lot of ideas going on in my head, but I agree with you.
What was one of your ideas?
A lot of people think that the reason that they are pushing specifically the state, and also I guess you could even say the local district, the reason they're pushing the level of the pay up for first-year teachers, a lot of people would claim that that's to fill vacancies because a lot of people don't want to become teachers. And so that they think this is an enticing way, like to dangle a carrot in front of somebody to become a teacher. What do you think about that?
Look, I'm from UCF. And I remember when I went to my graduation with my master's degree, I couldn't take it. It was hot. It was so many people in there graduating. And there was a lot of people in the education department. That's mean, don't tell me that there are not educators here looking for a job. The reason they wanted to do that is just to have an increase to gather people from other states. Believe it or not, I'm in favor of hiring people from Florida, especially from Osceola County. Promote people who actually go to UCF, go to UF, go to local universities or colleges and push for people to work with us. But if you wanted to give them an increase just to become a teacher, you're still going to have the lack because like you mentioned it, they want to promote people to become a teacher, but then another teacher is just going to leave. And you're not going to fill the vacancy. And I know what you're mentioning because Osceola County have over 300 substitute teachers. And I know some classes are being taught by substitute teachers the whole year. And it should not be like that. Nothing against substitute teachers. I did it myself a couple of times. But we should promote to have teachers and we have to listen to the teacher. When's the last time, if you're an Osceola County a teacher, when's the last time that the actual board members sit down with you guys and listen to you? When is the last time before they did the budget, actually sit down with the association or with the teachers to listen to how we can improve their wages? That's something that as a board member has to do. We have 5 board members. Each one of them could go to the district and talk to the teachers.
A lot of these issues are stemming from like state budgetary problems. What do you think the school board members' role should be on behalf of the district to advocate to the state? Like what should they be doing at their position at this local level to be advocating at the state level for districts?
Take advantage in election years. You have congressmen, you got local state houses, you have county commissioner. You have to push your agenda. We have to push our vision. We have to, even if we have to go to Tallahassee as a board member, you have the right to go there and represent your constituents. You have the right to go there and represent your teachers, because you're not just representing the community, you're representing your teachers as well and your students. And one thing that we could do is we could call them out. We could call out the people who do not want to support. You will ask them in front, hey, do you want to support the increase of the salaries? No, you don't? Okay, then so-and-so do not do. Remember, elections are coming and we have to make sure that we have elected officials that have the same idea that will benefit us as a society, as a community. We cannot have some, I want to mention, people that they only wanted to be there for the self-interest because they are the ones who want to grow. This is not to make money as a board member. It is not to make connections for you to become something better yet. And I don't like the idea too that I'm being seen. A lot of board members just get there for 4 years and then just want to jump to grow and be in another position. You should go to be a board member because you care about education, because you actually want to fix education or you want to fix your county. And once you do that And if you have room to improve and go into another position, then move away. But don't use this as just as a step to run for county commissioner. That's a shame, because actually you're just being there, voting yes or no, really don't looking at the agenda, not talking to your teachers, and then 2 years, whoop, 2 years, then I'm running now for commissioner. I'm running now for senator. What happened? What happened to your constituents? What happened to your teachers? And like I said, I don't mind getting in a bus and going all the way to Tallahassee. I know it's a 5-hour drive, but I don't mind reading and going there with them and push for them. I don't mind going to the county meetings, because where the most of the budget comes from? The county, right? The majority of the budget comes from the county. The rest comes from the state, and then also comes from the federal government, right? We're talking about only 12% from the federal government. What happened to our constituents? What happened to our politicians, our senators? Why they cannot go and fight for us, but they only remember us when the election comes, and then we don't see them. That's time now to push and make a pledge that we will fight for our constituents and our community every single day, not just when elections are coming. And that's something that we have to do, and that's something that I've been pushing. I'm helping my community, and that's something that I wanted to do. And it's not just a politician thing, because I'm not a politician. I'm just a public servant. And I'm not here to make politics. I'm just here to serve. And the reason is because I'm as a father, and as a professor, and as in charge of the community, I know what are the results if we don't help those children. Because I never mentioned that previously, I was a law enforcement officer. And I see the results. And when you go by statistics, where we failed them, where was the point that we did not address? And that's when they get divided. And it's a critical age, because most of the time, based on the statistics, children who are in middle school and high school is when they start committing crimes. And that's how we could enforce them, because where most of the time the children spend time at school, right? And what's better to have a teacher who is happy with his pay, a teacher that don't have to worry about, I'm getting a 5, I need to go to my other part-time job. You have a teacher who actually wants to teach, not direct, not instruct, a teacher who is happy because they don't have to worry about their bills. And that's what it takes. I want the schools to be like when you go to the parks and everybody's happy, and the meaning of, I want the teachers to be happy, because that happiness is what reflects when they do the education. And if your teachers are not happy, your students not going to be happy, your community is not going to be happy. And that's my vision, and that's what I'm pushing for.
Thank you. Where do you see the future of education looking like? What is the future of education looking like? And now that we are experiencing this pandemic, where do you think we're going to be moving forward now?
We are in dangerous time. And the reason for it is because, like I was mentioning, the majority of the funding comes from the county. The county, Osceola County, depends on tourists. And as you see, in 192 is empty. Right now, we're not seeing the effects that I'm gonna be honest with you, no candidate will tell you that, we're gonna see the effects next fiscal year. When the next budget comes, that's when we're gonna actually see the effects of the COVID-19. Something that I worry about is a lot of times, situation like this, the look of way of saving money, or look of a way of providing services that will be cheaper, or providing services that maybe will benefit the community, but would not benefit everybody. Like virtually, you could have a larger amount of students versus having them in classroom. And I still believe that a professor, even if it's a class online, should not have more than 18 students, or even less. I believe that we should hire exactly the amount of teachers, but that's something that they could be looking into it. They could be looking at this a way of saving money. And I don't like that. I like that we're supposed to invest more money, look into how we can improve the education and make it more personal, more individual. So the teacher could be able to focus on a small amount of the students and provide the education and make sure that they're learning. Versus now, the way I'm seeing is that they're looking at the way of expanding the amount of students and limited the resources and limiting the amount of money that they had to spend on a professor or a teacher. And that's where I worry about, that we will go in that direction. And I will make sure that we go back to the roots of, even if we have virtual, but at least that we have this enough amount of teachers to be able to teach our students live, face to face.
In that future, Professor Cruz, how do you feel like voucher schools and charter schools factor into that?
Charter school, they could be good and they could be bad. And the reason for this, it depends on the administration. Depends who's running that school. If you have somebody who's just looking as a benefit for education, yes. If you look at a person who's running as a business, then no. Because I've seen different charter schools in different parts of the country. In Puerto Rico, they are successful, they're doing what they're supposed to, but there are others not. And the problem that we're looking at is that that's when it comes in involvement, when it comes to real estate and selling, that for a lot of times they use charter schools to make them as an option that will be appealing for them to sell in the surroundings. But how you make that charter school sometimes that they're not as good as they're supposed to look good? You defund and you don't care of the public schools. Because to have something good, you need to compare with something bad. What I wanted to make sure is that no matter if you go to a charter school or you go to a public schools, the children get the same education. And the charter schools, the main reason of the charter school were created, it was not for areas like this. Charter schools was created to have in small, in the cities, to have a small areas that you can't have a big area for a school, and also for rural areas. I believe that we have enough public schools to support those kids. We could expand by making more buildings, and also we might need another high school and another middle school. But the need of increasing, I don't know if you're familiar that they're going to do another charter high school on Pleasant Hill. I'm not in favor of that because it's going to affect the traffic. It's going to affect the funding that is not going to be given to the public schools. And I believe in public schools. I believe that we could improve them. I believe that we could help them. Nothing against the charter schools, but if we have a system, why we cannot just fix it instead of just replacing with another option, another alternative? Let's invest first on our public school system and then give the parents an option. If they wanted to go to a charter school, that's fine. But I do not believe that we should remove funding or lose the students from the public school just to provide it to them. It is not fair because not every child could go to a charter school. Not every charter school provide transportation. How many parents do we have that they have to go to school, to go to work at 6 o'clock in the morning and the child's still there, and then they have to be transported, and the only way that they could is by providing by school buses. That means the child cannot go to a charter school just because he had to go to a public school, and then you have a great amount of public school students there, and the county would not, because you get the funding based on the amount of students that goes to the school, right? And the less students, the more problems that we have. And that's why we have to focus on promoting, making school back the way it used to be when I went to school. I'm way older than you guys, but back then I was happy. I used to wake up. I didn't want to be at home. I want to be at school. Now you have children that they want to be at home. Another dangerous thing that I see is that a lot of kids who have behavioral problems in public schools, instead of going to New Beginnings, the parents withdraw them and place them in charter schools. And that's a lot of them. I'm talking about more than 40% are kids who have behavioral problems, and parents do not know that. And I know that because I handle the cases. That's mean I know that child left the public school system because they have a behavioral problem. Charter schools do not monitor the same way the public schools do. And they do whatever they can to keep that student because they want that money. That's something that we have to look at as well, because they need to have the same standards that the public schools have.
So aside from the logistics of a charter school, like the location and how it's going to affect traffic and how it's going to affect, the attendance or the numbers at a public school. You know, a big role of a school board member is approving the charter. So how do you differentiate between, like you said at the beginning, the charter school that's trying to do the right thing and they're trying to provide a good alternative for these public school kids versus the one that's only in it for nefarious reasons?
Well, if you look at the agendas, we have a lot of charter schools who fail in our county. And instead of, we have to do a due diligence and do research. Every board member has to do research, and we have the staff to do research on those communities. Because I don't know if you're familiar, it's really easy to open a charter school. The only thing you have to do is just get a proposal from another charter school, change some names, throw some different word, just throw it up and whoop, you got your charter school. You just need the money. We have to make sure that what they offer is actually what they're going to provide. And a lot of times, school board, not mentioning here, approve things without actually doing the due diligence and investigating if they're going to be providing those services, such as some could be that they have unqualified teachers or they don't have the right amount of professors in the classrooms. They're overcrowded. I don't believe in schools who do not have sport facilities, that the only thing they do is just take out the kids to the parking lot. Make sure that if you're going to have a great school, that school has to have better facilities than the public school. And I'll be honest, I know a lot of people would not, but I'm not in favor of promoting so many charter schools like the way the Osceola County is going. And it has to do with promoting some ideology that some communities are being created in those areas, promising that their children are going to be going to schools instead of going to public schools. Because I don't know why they like to put public school like it's the worst thing. I went to public school where I am. I know so many people who went to public school. Public schools are not bad. They're children. No matter what school they are, it's going to be the same attitude. But they're going to be bad if we take funding from them. We need to stop that. If you wanted to do a charter school, it's fine, do it. But we're not going to take money from the public schools. You need to get that money from somewhere else. You need to acquire money from investors or people who wants to donate money to that charter school. Then you will be able to provide your services. But we're not going to take that money away from the public schools. We can't. We need to stop that. We need to have the best public schools that have in the whole Central Florida.
Thank you, thank you. We're going to switch a little bit gears. Who was your favorite teacher and why?
My favorite teacher? My favorite teacher was Mr. Arahugo. He was a math professor. He was, back in the old days, it was funny because we used to, the charcoal, Atisa, and the board. And he used to come always with a good problem, math problem, and we had to solve it by the end of the day. And he was great because he always was strict and he was forward and he was always helping. That's why I became great in math. And I remember he used to tell me, botellas con botellas, chinas con chinas. And I don't know if it had the same meaning in English, but bottles and bottles and oranges and oranges. And the way that he explained to me math, so different from the ways that it is easier. And when I'm in school, because I've substituted a lot of times in a long time ago in Don John and other public schools, and I help in math. The way that I learned, thanks to that professor, that teacher, it is so easy that it gave me an understanding. And we need to go back to that. We need to go back to have teachers like that you will remember for the rest of your life because they make a change. They did something in your life that you're going to remember them, and that's something great. Because teachers are heroes, and we need to go back to that. The teachers need to be our heroes.
Well, I've got one more question for you, and just like Dora, this is it's a question. It's more about your personality, and I really appreciate your time and thank you for your candor and your answers. But what are some favorite places for you to spend time in Osceola?
In Osceola, I like the front part I like go to the Kissimmee downtown. Another place that I like to go is in my community. I was able to clear. My community is Parkview Lakeshore, and when I moved here, you wasn't able to see the lake. Now I clear it up, and now we are able to see the lake. I like to see nature. Also in the Disney Preserve, that's a great area for children to go and walk. Because I'm nature. I wish that we have springs in Osceola County. Because I like to go to the spring in Osceola County. I go to Disney Preserve. I like to go to see nature. I'm not a kind of person who likes to go to parks or go to crowded places. I like nature. I like to see animals. I like to see plants, trees, bugs, butterflies, insects, everything. It's something that it reminds us that we part of it. Because when you are in your house, when you are going in the car and stuff, you feel like you're not part of what is your surrounding. But when you're walking in nature, you realize like, hey, I am part of nature. Nature is part of me. I have to take care of it for it to take care of me. And that's what I like. That's what I do.
That is very sweet. I really appreciate that. As I feel the same way. I'm really excited to go on my nature walk on Sunday. I had one plan in my head. So Victor, my question is, my last one is there anything else you would like to say to the community and who can vote for you before we leave for today's show?
Okay. I appreciate it, Ms. Dora and Mr. Lee, that you guys took the time to interview me. What I would like to say to the community is, when you go to vote, not just go vote for a name. Don't vote for me because my name is Hispanic or I'm a professor. Do your research. Research on your candidates. See what we could offer. See our history, how we could help you. And if we have the time to dedicate it to you. See, my name is Victor Cruz. And you could find me, you could go to the website, voteforvictorcruz.com, or you go to my Facebook page, voteforvictorcruz.com as well. Go do the research on me. Go see, talk to my community members, my neighbors. Go out there, do some research, see your candidates. But I'm gonna bet you that Osceola County School Board District 3, I'm your best candidate. I am your candidate that is gonna be representing you, who is going to be you, because I'm not working for me. My agenda is not my agenda, it's our agenda. And voting for me is voting for you.
Well, thank you everyone for tuning in to Spill the Tea, and thank you, Victor Cruz, for spending the time with us. I really appreciate it.
And thank you. Have a nice day.